This is the JP Pena Show, and welcome to Unfuck Yourself. It's 3 strikes, man. You're out of chances. Lousy mindset, you quitting, now you acting. Who you fooling for dignity and approval? Insecurity, excuses, habits. It's what's killing you. Now fuck yourself, get some act right. Come right here. Success, not final, but failure can be fatal, Courage to count, value to add, status aside, change the commands. Hit the reset now. Yes. Man, that is freaking fire right there, man. Freaking fire. That's the new intro just dropped. Literally off the oven, off the press. So you guys are listening for the first time. Took a lot of work. Man, please let me know what you think. I want it to be something with some message to it. Something that sort of brings out what you're going through and how you have to wake up from it. So definitely something that, man, I'm happy. That shit was badass. I would play it again, but then I'll bore the hell out of you guys. Don't want to do that. But hey, man, what's up? It's December 22nd. This is actually the 3rd episode. I have another episode that I have not yet loaded just because we had some technical difficulties. I was actually currently right now I'm using an AKG or something, AKG mic. What is this? AKG, the P2020, and we just bought the Shure, which is the one everybody in the podcast is using. But we couldn't get that audio to get high, even though we cranked it all the way up. And then later we found out that for the Rode podcaster that we are currently using, you have to use this sort of amplifier that, makes the voice go up. So we got to work on that. We'll definitely post it up because that was a good one. But, I'm going to make this one a really quick one, but it's something that I have put out there. You guys might not know about it yet, but I want to share it with you guys because I'm all about accountability. And again, the name of the show is to unfuck yourself. And it's something that I've been trying to do for a long time. And I feel it's that time to do it. No specific reason. It's not like I've been fucking up or causing issues with it or, something that I can't control, but it's something that I just want to do if it makes any sense. And that's drinking alcohol. Now, let me just kind of explain my history with that. My grandfather was an alcoholic. He actually died, which this is still questionable, and we don't quite know the exact details to this, but he did live here in the States for a while, and I always remember seeing him drinking. He always had beer, always beer. I can't recall if he drank any hard alcohol, but 100% he always had beer. In fact, there was one time where he left it out, and I seriously thought it was apple juice, and I chucked the hell out of it, and my mom showed up, and man, I got my ass whooped. Till this day, she thinks that my grandfather gave me that, but no, it was straight fucking accident. So kind of sucks because she still didn't believe me. I mean, that's how much of an alcoholic he was that it got to the point that even his own family just didn't believe a word just because it was like he was always drunk type thing. I remember riding the bus with him to his job. He used to work right there in the restaurant in front of Universal City Nissan, if you guys know where that's at. Just on the other side of Studio City. And I remember I would love it because I would go with him, get off the bus. I think he was like a dishwasher or something like that. And he'll let me drink as much Coke that I want. And man, for what I remember, that was like the best Coke ever. It's like so like, that crisp that when it goes down your throat, that gas is just hitting on you. I mean, it was just legit good. Excuse me, I had to wipe myself there. But yeah, and then he'd be drinking on the job, like him and his friends, and I would see him, would be in the back, like by the bar area, and he'd be like chugging, and I was just like, fuck, man, I guess that's what's up. And it got to the point where he would just show up drunk all the time. In fact, one time he showed up drunk and started going off at my mom for some reason. My dad was there, and my dad asked me and my sister just to go outside downstairs. This was at the apartments we lived in Hollywood. And he said, guys, go downstairs. He kind of walked with us, and it's me and my sister, and we're sort of like playing right in front of the apartment, and my dad's just kind of standing there. And then I know you hear my mom running down the stairs crying, like yelling, and my grandfather had a knife in his hand. And I was like, fuck, holy shit, what's going on here? And she gets behind my dad. We're all kind of sort of spread out. And I don't know what in her, communication was going on there, but there was just yelling. I was maybe like 10, 11, something around there. And there was yelling, and, he had a knife. And I remember my dad telling him something. And then he was kind of like then kind of waving the knife at my dad. And my dad, let me tell you something about my dad. My dad was this one person that he did not give a fuck what you had. I mean, you just said the wrong thing or you stand up, he's fighting you. It's like that. And my dad's like trying to fight this guy. And I remember he was like doing some movement, kind of like, avoiding the knife slashes and stuff like that. Then he out of nowhere, like just takes off in the street. Like literally, I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? This guy's fighting him and then just takes off. He actually went to his car and takes out the bar that you used to take out the wheel, the spare wheel, the L looking one, and takes that out. And now it's like game on, man. So he's kind of like posing. My grandfather has the knife out, and he's like wanging it at my grandfather. Finally hits him enough where he takes out the hand, hits him. They're kind of like going at it. All these people start showing up. Then I noticed my dad was bleeding. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Turns out that, he actually got shanked by my grandfather. He shanked him a few times, in fact. And one of them, like, missed his heart, like, by a few, which was crazy because I don't remember seeing none of this. I just remember after paramedics showing up and there's blood everywhere. And, my grandfather, he broke his hand and his arm because I guess my dad hit him with that. So, I mean, it was just fucking drama everywhere. And they ended up taking my dad to the hospital. We ended up visiting them that later on that day. And, it was bad. Like he had all this stuff in his mouth and he had surgery. So it was pretty crazy. So that was kind of like the first ones. But my dad was never a drinker. My mom's always been sort of a social drinker, sort of like if she went somewhere, she'll have a margarita or something like that. But my grandfather was a heavy drinker. So that's sort of where I started the introduction of alcohol. And I would see him always drinking it. And since I grew up in a family where everything was denied and everything was restricted, it was kind of like I always felt more attractive to that. Like I want to be bad. And the minute that I'm old enough to try it, I want to do it because it seems bad and it seems like everybody's doing it except my mom and dad. We'll go to parties. My uncles, they be getting drunk. My aunts, they be drinking. It's like every party went, people were just having a good time and there was always beer in their hand. So I grew up seeing that. And since everything was denied, for me, it was like, damn, that's like that forbidden fruit that you can't have, but you want so bad and you don't care. You just want to try it, right? So it wasn't until high school where finally I got introduced more into drinking. And it was this one occasion, I remember that a buddy of mine, George, I still remember this. We did school and we were supposed to go to these girls' party. It was just going to be a couple of these girls that wanted to hook up with me, hook up with him. So the whole thing was like 3 guys and maybe like 12 girls. So we're like, fuck yeah, dude, we're just going to kill it. I remember my dad had gave me like $20. He had like $40 with him. We went to the liquor store. We got some Mickeys, the grenade looking ones. Now, I had never drank this much, guys. I tried it before I tried a beer. That was about it. So he's like, before we show up, we have to drink a 6-pack. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, before we show up, we have to drink a 6-pack. And I said, fuck. All right, I'm down. Fuck. You're in high school. You're down for anything. You just think it's cool. You want to do it. And so we start doing that. We're there and, we're chucking this 6-pack of Mickeys. And I don't remember feeling anything at first. I remember finishing them. I remember walking. I remember going inside the house. I remember the girls there. I remember dancing. I remember drinking some more. And it wasn't until they took out a bottle of Jack Daniels. I'll never forget that. And that's why I hate Jack Daniels. And for the longest time, I hated beer. I didn't want to drink beer either because after this experience, and you'll find out here in a minute, I was just disgusted by beer. So we're drinking beer. Then we're taking shots of Jack Daniels. I remember giving a girl a lap dance, and then I just felt everything turn. And it was the most awkward thing because I sort of liked this girl, and I'm on top of her, giving her a lap dance, and out of nowhere, I'm just like, holy shit, I don't feel good. I said, I need to use your restroom. She's like, sure, go to the back. And I go to the restroom, and I'm thinking like, okay, I never felt this before. What is it? Maybe I just need to take a shit. And I remember I sat down on the toilet. And as I'm sitting down on the toilet trying to take a shit, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is not good. Like, now I want to throw up. So I got to make up my mind here. Do I take a shit or do I throw up? And of course, I never experienced this. So I'm like, fuck that. And I remember I'm in the toilet, and right next to me is the tub. So I move the curtains of the tub, and I start throwing up on the tub while sitting on the toilet. Right while I'm doing that, this girl walks in. Most fucking embarrassing shit ever. Because I remember this. She walks in, she sits down, she's like, oh my God. I'm like, no, I need your help, rah, rah, fucking throwing up everywhere. And, she gets there, she's trying to hold my hand, she's trying to like, oh, like maybe you should get up. Like, and I feel bad now that I think about it. I'm like, first of all, this girl, I mean, we didn't know each other that well. She liked me, I liked her. And then she walks in to the bathroom, me sitting on the toilet, throwing up, almost naked. And that's the worst scene you could have as, liking somebody. You show up and they're taking a shit and they're throwing up. It's like, fuck, definitely you're not getting nothing after that. You're done. It's like dismissed, right? And somehow I get up. She takes me to her room, and she had a bunk bed. And I remember I laid down on the bunk bed, and I try to get up. My dumbass is trying to get up, and I hit my head on the bunk bed and knock myself out. The most stupidest shit ever. I don't remember shit until like 5 girls, frankly, trying to wake me up because the girl that I like also got drunk, and her dad was about to pull up. And there can't be a man or a boy in the fucking room, especially in her bed. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? So they're like, you have to leave. You have to leave. Like, come on, get up. And they're like throwing water at me, putting ice. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is like the most craziest shit ever. And I remember they got me out through the window. And somehow, I don't even remember. I had my pants on. That's some good news, though. And my boy George was across the street, almost passed out. And he's all like, bro, I got a ride that's going to pick me up. Let's go. I'm like, holy shit, dude. So I get in this car that some guy shows up. Then it turns out this is the guy that we're not getting along with. There's like some beef going on here. And I'm like, fuck, dude, this is the worst day ever. Not only am I drunk, most likely lost a girl that I wanted to get laid, but now I'm in the back of a car of a guy that wants to fuck me up. And to make matters worse, I fucking throw up in the car. Yeah, some of you might be like, fuck yeah. I was like, fuck, this is not good, man. I actually felt bad. It was his new car too. So they get me out, they put me on the school bus. I get home, I feel like shit. I used to always stay late in school for soccer. So, it was like 7:00. Luckily, my parents weren't home. There was actually nobody home. And I took a cold shower, went to bed. My mom showed up like around 9:30. She's like, what's wrong? I was like, my head hurts. Just give me some medicine. That was it. And the next day I got introduced to a fucking hangover, which fucking sucks, especially when you got Hell Week starting for soccer. Fuck that. That's when I said, you know what? Maybe drinking is not for me. I don't like this feeling whatsoever. And it's something that I not pursue. I attended parties after that. I never drank. I was just like, that's the worst feeling ever. I was always very athletic. So for me, it was like, fuck that. Like, I didn't feel good. It made my body like sluggish. And long story short, it really wasn't until I got out of high school. And again, it's all about influences. And I noticed now that I talk to veterans and I help veterans out and I try to get them out of transitioning or they're having a hard time with transitioning is that they try to stay within that environment, that specific introduction of friends that they feel was comfortable, that they feel was cool, that they still want to stay with and continue to do the bad habits that they still do to this day, which that's a huge problem. something that we're going to talk about here down the line. But I got introduced to a couple of Marines, and their whole thing was party drinking, party drinking. I had joined the Marine Corps. I hadn't deployed yet, and that's sort of when I had a taste of Bacardi, Bacardi Limon. That's the Bacardi with the lemon flavor. My boy shows up. He just got out of recon school. He says, "Man, you got to drink this. It's legit. You could drink like half of this bottle before the club, and you're good." And I was 18 at the time, so they used to sneak me in using a fake military ID. And everywhere I went, it's like before we even showed up to the club, it was like we had to drink at least half of this bottle. And this is a big bottle, guys. And so we started drinking that. It became like my new cool because it wouldn't get you drunk. It just get you like in a good stage. And then the first thing we do was always like a tradition. Like once you drink that, you show up to the club, you went straight to the bar and you got two adioses. That's the blue drink that had like all this other shit on it. They were called adios motherfuckers because, you know, you drank some of these, you'd be fucked up. Well, two of these got us to the point where we didn't need to buy any more drinks and we just fucking party trying to hound girls and find them, right? So this was like our routine. And I noticed that my performance as far as athletics started going down at that point. I mean, I was fucking stellar. I was doing soccer. I was playing semi-pro club team. I was doing cross country, track, volleyball. I mean, I was very athletic and always, I mean, not the best at everything, but I was at, you know, a competitive level. I gave it all. I was in shape, worked out, six pack, everything. While I was training for Marine Corps boot camp, I was doing 3 miles under 18 minutes, which was pretty good. I was doing more than 20 pull-ups, the whole sit-ups. I mean, I was like a 300 PFTer. That's what they call like top of the top in Marine Corps boot camp. When I left to boot camp and some of this party had started, oh man, I was having a harder time on the running. I remember my pull-ups got a little bit sloppier. It was just everything became a harder time. So those 3 months of Marine Corps boot camp helped a lot because obviously I stayed away from all that. When I got back though, everything just resumed right where I left off. And the first thing I did was fight that comfort of people that were willing to party like that and go through that process, which is crazy because the human mind, once you activate it, you give it that sense of good feeling, it sort of wants to go back to it. You know, I mean, it's obviously why, you know, people do drugs and continue to drink and all that stuff. And you know, I'm young, I'm not researching, I'm not kind of thinking further ahead. I'm just thinking at the moment. And it's something that I just felt good. So right away, I got close to a group of people that's all they wanted to do. Every weekend was like go out and, you know, spend money on drinking and partying and clubbing and then come back and do the whole crucial of just getting up and doing it all over again. So at this point, it's like where it all sort of began for me because alcohol since then has always been something that I turn to for either, you know, a reason of, I mean, obviously there's a lot more to this. When I got out of the military, I was drinking heavily. That's a lot to do with my fucking PTSD that I was going through. It was a way of me for comfort, for me to like fight anxiety, for fighting, you know, some bullshit insecurities that I had at the time. Fucking getting out and you know, life just being different and society looking at you different and you not getting that treatment that I expected was a big point. When I started making money doing loans, the first thing I felt was I got to be part of that cool crew now. You know, it's not just drinking. I was buying expensive bottles and being that social status, and everywhere I went, it had to be in a show and show like, oh yeah, I got this, so I gotta go fucking do this. I got this, so I gotta blow it out on this, and everything involved fucking alcohol. There's nothing that I fucked up in my life that did not involve alcohol in one way, shape, or form. Regardless, didn't mean I drank every day, but just every weekend a party and drinking fucking crazy involved me getting into some fucking trouble. Nothing ended up well, and fuck yeah, I was hustling. I was fucking still making money. But it was painful. I mean, fucking waking up every morning all fucked up, waking up with some bullshit headaches, like just sluggish and all that bullshit. You're just putting your body through a lot of fucking unnecessary pain that it doesn't deserve. And it got to the point though, and this was around 2008, where obviously the market was bad. I'll talk about this more in detail, but man, it was just bad times. And it got to the point where I was drinking a bottle every fucking day of Bacardi. Every day I was going through a bottle to a bottle. I don't even know how I do it. I ask my wife now, I'm like, fuck, dude. I look back and I'm like, so much damage that I might have caused my body, doing that. And shit, you don't think about it. You think it's an actual solution, but in reality, it's fucking killing you. And that had a lot to do with my weight gain because I was doing rum and coke. That's like my go-to. And yeah, I fucking, it just got really bad. And I went through some fucking hard times with that. Really bad PTSD after it kicked in and everything fucking hit the fan. Um, but transitioning out of that, I realized that I never fully let go. And although I've been good at controlling it a lot better, fuck yeah, like, I gone 6 months without drinking. I gone, weeks without touching anything. I done wine maybe for dinner or stuff like that. And there'll be times where I'll party with my Marine guys and yeah, fuck yeah, I'll drink a few drinks. But the reason that I'm deciding not to drink and I'm gonna go a whole fucking year without drinking, and I started this actually after Thanksgiving, um, is because I feel that it's not necessary, and I want to make it a proof and a point that you could achieve a lot more while letting go with that. You're not losing out. You're not fucking missing in fun. In fact, if you are around people that are telling you that drinking is their principle, that drinking is like, if you don't drink with them, they're disrespecting, then you don't want that type of people in your life, period. And I think it's time for me to step up and kind of push away from that too, because I have clients that every time we meet, it's like, oh, well, we got to meet at the bar or we got to meet at that. And I want to see how I could test them as well and be like, hey, well, I'm doing this. How can you support me? And how can we still work together and see how further we can scale this, your opportunity, my business, supporting each other. So it's something that I 100% will, you know, commit to it. And, I contacted a few friends that have done it. One of them was CJ Sparks, former playmate, great friend, always advocate, helping my veterans out. And she's been going through, I think she just hit a year of soberness. And she was one of the first ones that I hit up and sort of said, hey, this is the step that I want to take. What's your suggestions? And I mean, she said, don't do it during the holidays because that's the worst time, man. I said, you know what? I want to do it because that's how I really want to test myself and fully commit to it. Fully commit to it. And it's been great. Again, it's been more than 45 days now. And I feel a lot better. I've been working out more. I feel more into it. Again, I got in 6 months without drinking before. But it was something that I was just kind of like, I'm just doing it, see what happens. It's just nothing. None of the opportunities came up. It was just something that I got really busy, and I was just like, it is what it is. This is in a situation where I know that there's going to be a lot of drinking. I know that there's going to be a lot of people putting that peer pressure, and I'm gonna show you that regardless, you can't fucking fight to do it, and you can't say no, and quite frankly, don't give a fuck what they think afterwards. So it's been fucking quite a journey so far. Christmas, everybody was drinking, and I was pretty much cool. In fact, towards the end, I was kind of laughing, watching all the drunks, dude. They're kind of bullshit and acting a fool, and I'm like, man, shit, is that how I acted when I used to get drunk? I mean, it's like some of the nonsense that they say. It's like, it's crazy, but you know what? That's the alcohol. That's what it does. It's like if you need alcohol to pump your chest up and to, kind of make it seem that, oh yeah, I'm a fucking boss, I'm this and that. It's like you're in the wrong mindset already, man. You're set for failure. And a lot of people use alcohol as a way of acceptance, for strength, for motivation, to show approval, and it's all the wrong reasons. So yeah, it's one of the reasons that I'm just gonna stop this out for a year. I started 45 days ago. I'm excited about this. This is a good journey. There's a couple other things that I'm taking in place. Like I said, I don't believe in starting your resolutions in 2020 January. You got to start way before that. At the end of the day, time is the one thing we can't buy back. So what's the point of waiting for an affirmation where you could take action now and make shit happen versus you're trying to wait until January, God forbid something happens for you, and then you just fuck that shit up because your time for that affirmation didn't come fast enough. Fuck that. Don't go looking for it. Create it. So with that said, let's fucking make it happen. If you're interested in accountability and joining me on this, I'll fucking love the support. We can start like a Facebook group, message me, email me, whatever, and let's make it happen. Until then, have a fucking good night and continue to fucking killing it.